Well, good afternoon, everyone. Obviously, this is a big day here in Congress with the President coming up. It's important to remember it's not unusual to have divided government. We've had it a lot, most of the time since World War II. What I hope to hear from the President tonight is an emphasis on things that we can agree on, things that give us a chance to actually advance the agenda of the American people. I think any president in this situation has a choice. He can sort of act like he's still running for office, or he can focus on the things that we have a chance to reach an agreement on. Obviously, that's what I hope we'll hear tonight, is a speech that brings us together and doesn't push us apart. The American people have spoken. They've decided they want both parties to have some lever of power here in Congress, and I think they expect us to sort out the things that we can agree on and try to make some bipartisan progress. With that, I'll turn to Senator Portman.
Yeah, a lot of the run-up to the State of the Union has been about what divides us, either between parties or between Capitol Hill and the administration. So I hope the President's going to talk about what can unite us. I hope he is listening to the results of the 2014 election. It wasn't just about electing a Republican majority. It was also about the American people saying, we want you guys to get together and get some things done. One great opportunity is expanding exports. American workers, American farmers are now at a disadvantage because other countries are opening up markets for their workers and their farmers, and we're not doing it. The President has concluded no trade negotiations in this administration because he hasn't had the authority to do it. He's talked about wanting that authority. Many of us on the Republican side would like to help to give him that authority and to give the American people and the American workers and farmers and service providers that authority, because that will open up markets so that they can compete on a level playing field with 95% of the consumers who are outside of our borders. So let's hope the President talks about that tonight and does more than just talk about it, but this time actually goes to his caucus, goes to the Democrats, talks about the importance of this to get this economy truly moving, where people aren't left behind, where wages can be rising. Export jobs pay more. They have better benefits. It's a great example of what we could do together to help keep the American economy moving forward and ensuring that people aren't left behind. Yeah?
Hello, everyone. You know, I am really looking forward to hearing the President speak tonight, because I believe every elected official got the message loud and clear from our constituents. I know I did from Nebraskans, and I believe that the American people sent a very, very clear message, and that's that we better work together, and we need to get things done. We're trying to do that now on an energy bill that's up on the floor of the United States Senate. But what I think the American people want, what I know Nebraskans want, is security. We want national security. We want to make sure that our country is defended and our military has the resources that they need to provide a defense. We want economic security. We want to make sure that our families are taken care of. We want to know that middle-class people can have a good job. They can provide for their families. They can take care of them. They can save for their kids' college education. They can maybe put a little nest egg away for their retirement. They can buy a home. We can do those things. You know, we are ready to move forward and accomplish the tasks that are before us. I've been working with senators on the other side of the aisle on a number of bills. One of those is a Paid Family Leave Act that Senator Angus King and I are working on. It is a great bill. It's a common sense bill. It's one of those bills that should be coming up where we can amend it and vote on it. I know we have a pledge from the majority leader, and you'll see that pledge from the Republican conference, that we are going to be debating, we are going to be amending, we are going to be voting. In other words, we're going to do our job. So I hope that the President will put that message out there, too, that he's ready to do his job in working with us.
Good afternoon. I'm Shelley Moore Capito, the new senator from the state of West Virginia. As I was flying up here this morning, I was talking to my constituents. We were waiting for the plane, and we were talking about the excitement of a State of the Union address. It's a time for all of us, I think, to join together. Americans are listening. We've just come off of an election that was a pretty dramatic change, certainly in my state, a dramatic change. And when I explained, what the president, what we were thinking is going to be coming forth, some of the early proposals by the president, the guy just looks at me and he sort of rolls his eyes and he goes, "More gridlock?" And, I can tell that's what we are saying, and I am saying here, no more gridlock. We want to work in a bipartisan way. We're already doing that. We've got Keystone on the floor of the Senate right now where we have great bipartisan support. I think a way to get West Virginians back to work and Americans back to work is a good transportation bill. That's always been a bipartisan effort on both sides of the aisle, on both sides of the Capitol. And that's a place where a state like West Virginia, it's Transportation Day in West Virginia, they're looking for us to work together. So I hope the tone that the President strikes today is one of finding common ground, common sense, doable items where we can show that gentleman I saw this morning at the airport and a lot of others all across the country that it's not business as usual, and that we're ready to create a new day. We want him to join us in creating that new day of working together and finding common ground. So thank you.
Yeah.
After a couple of weeks in the new Congress, what reforms do you think might be possible to Obamacare or the Dodd-Frank bill that some Democrats might be able to get on board with? Do you have any sense of that?
Well, we've already made a couple of changes to Dodd-Frank, one in the Omnibus and one in the TRIA bill. We're looking for ways to revisit both of those in ways that would make them substantially different from what the majority that enacted them had in mind. We'll just have to see how, as we go forward. I don't expect a great deal of bipartisanship on the revisitation of Obamacare, but we're going to do that, and people will have an opportunity to see how the new majority in the Senate feels about that unfortunate piece of legislation.
Senator McConnell, on the issue of tone, President Obama doesn't like some of these warmed-over bills that are being sent to him, and so he's vetoed them. And Republicans don't like his 5 vetoes that he has already expressed. Is it possible to actually put tone issues and rhetoric issues aside and still be able to focus on the areas where there's possible agreement?
Well, that's really a question you ought to ask the president. I think ever since the election, he's done, at least almost without exception, indicated he's not for much of anything the American people voted for last November. But look, I just say this with all due respect to him. He doesn't set the agenda in the Senate. We're going to try to do the things that we think will make America a better place. Hopefully, some of the things that we enact, he will agree to. Senator Portman mentioned Trade Promotion Authority. We all know we need to do a cybersecurity bill. Those are at least 2 areas where surely we ought to be able to reach an agreement with the president. Looking at the rollout of what he's likely to talk about tonight, speaking of warmed over proposals, it all looks like the same old tax and spend that the president's been advocating for the last 6 years. Hopefully that's just rhetoric. He knows we're not likely to pass these kinds of measures, and we'll still look for things that we can actually agree on to try to make some progress here.
Mr. Leader, regarding the proposals that Mr. Obama has rolled out, including a big tax plan, do you think that the tone that sets makes it more difficult to do things that you also try to do in tax reform?
Well, I had hoped what he would emphasize tonight, rather than another tax increase, was tax reform, something I thought we had the potential for some kind of agreement on. We've had a number of discussions privately and actually back and forth publicly about the need to address comprehensive tax reform. That's not what I gather he's going to talk about tonight, or at least not what they've chosen to highlight in advance of tonight. Comprehensive tax reform is an area we might actually be able to make some progress on, but another income redistribution effort, another tax increase obviously is not what we had in mind. Thanks a lot.